However, soon after adjournment of the proceedings, police effected another arrest on all the 9 accused for similar offences related to the Mbowe incident, where suspected thugs attacked Democratic Progressive Party (DPP) supporters in Lilongwe. Police have since arrested 2 more in connection to the similar charges. For Luntha, this is Robert Edward.
Attorney General Frank Mbeta has defended President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika's recent appointments of Gabriel Chembezi as an acting Director General of Anti-Corruption Bureau (SCB) and Felix Tambulas as Commissioner General of the Malawi Revenue Authority (MRA), saying the decisions are lawful and in line with existing legislation. Mbeta made the remarks in response to growing criticism from governance advocates and sections of civil society who have accused the president of acting individually and allegedly violating legal procedures in making the 2 appointments. Chalida Chiranga with the details.
The Attorney General clarified that the President acted within the provisions of the Corrupt Practices Act, specifically Section 6B, Paragraph 8, which empowers the head of state to appoint a competent person in an acting capacity when both the offices of the SCB Director General and Deputy Director General are vacant. He said the recent transfer of the acting Director General, who was previously serving as Deputy Director General, to the Ministry of Justice created a double vacancy, prompting the President to invoke the relevant section of the Act. Mbeta further noted that Chembe's appointment is temporary and will last for 6 months, during which formal recruitment processes will be conducted to identify 3 suitable candidates for the President's consideration. The chosen nominee will then appear before the Public Appointments Committee of Parliament for confirmation. On the appointment of Felix Tambulas as MRA Commissioner General, the Attorney General stated that while the MRA board normally makes such appointments, the absence of a constituted board necessitated presidential interventions.
The acting Director General, who was essentially the Deputy Director General, was transferred to the Ministry of Justice. So it meant that there are 2 vacancies. You don't have the Director General, you don't have the Deputy Director General.
President Mutharika's recent appointments have stirred intense public debate, with governance advocates accusing the administration of undermining institutional independence.
The acting Director of Mines in the Ministry of Mines and Natural Resources, Mphatso Chikoti, has disclosed that government is making significant progress in improving the governance and management of the country's mineral resources. Speaking during the 7th Alternative Mining Indawa in Lilongwe, Chikoti highlighted several key milestones, including the enactment of the Mines and Mineral Act, the establishment of a regulatory authority, and the ongoing review of the national mining policy. Sam Kalimba has more in this report.
One of the earliest executive orders that the President of the Republic of Malawi, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, made was the ban on exportation of raw minerals extracted from the soils of Malawi. Luntha TV has gathered that the ban is permanent to pave way for the processes like polishing of the minerals to be done in country, which have the potential to create new jobs for Malawians. According to the acting Director of Mines in the Ministry of Mines and Natural Resources, Mphatso Chikoti, the implementation of the export ban on raw minerals is in progress, saying that such reforms are crucial to ensuring that Malawians fully benefit from the country's natural resources and ultimately gain ground in the economic transformation agenda.
These meetings are very significant to the ministry as a policy holder, because now this is the platform where we get to hear what is truly on the ground. Because as you are aware, the ministry and the government officials, mostly we are in our offices at Capitol Hill, but then if you talk to the people, if you chat with the people that are on the ground, we get to know what exactly is happening on the ground and this will also feed into policy formulation.
One of the organizers of the 2025 Alternative Mining Indaba Evangelical Association of Malawi, through its Secretary General, Reverend Francis Mkandawile, has hailed government for banning the exploitation of raw minerals. Reverend Mkandawile said that apart from creating jobs, the ban will promote greater transparency and accountability in managing Malawi resources.
It's supposed to benefit the people. But what is happening is if mining is not well regulated, it can become an issue, a very, very serious issue. Wherever mining is taking place, firstly, mining is critical in terms of raising up the standards of living for the people. And if well managed, good accountability, transparency and accountability, management of those resources, the locals will benefit.
Senior Chief Mwilang'ombe from Kalonga has acknowledged that mining is taking place in his area and is calling upon government to come and regulate the illegal mining activities in Kalonga.
At this time, a number of people are illegally digging the gold there. I don't know whether they are paying money to the government or they pay tax to the government. They are there illegally. We have a number of minerals. I'm glad that the government is putting as a priority to the plan for mining.
Country Director of the NCA-DCA Malawi, Stephen Johnson, also took time to commend the Malawi government for banning the exploration of raw minerals extracted from the soils of Malawi, saying this has the potential of creating jobs for Malawians. However, Johnson advised authorities to be pragmatic by implementing the policy. Power to people owning Malawi's energy future is the theme for the two-day alternative mining endeavor taking place in Lilongwe. For Luntha TV, I am Sam Kalimba.
Economic expert Happy Chirwa has said that Malawi's economy, though showing signs of improvement, remains fragile due to persistent challenges such as fuel shortages, forex instability, and rising food prices. However, Chirwa commended the government for introducing cost-cutting measures and maintaining monetary policy instability, saying these steps could help the country move towards economic recovery. The economic expert was commenting on President Peter Mutharika's directive timing, rather limiting cabinet ministers to a maximum of 3 official trips per year. Gift Kalonga with the details.
As the country is still facing economic challenges due to instability of Malawi's economy, the government is putting efforts by coming up with austerity measures to stabilize the economy. Speaking with Luntha TV, economic expert Happy Chirwa said Malawi's economy is showing signs of improvement but remains fragile due to persistent challenges. He highlighted fuel shortages, disruptions of supply chains, forex instability, and rising of food prices as key factors affecting productivity and overall economic growth. Chirwa welcomed the government's recent austerity measures, including President Peter Mutharika's directive limiting cabinet ministers to maximum of 3 official trips per year. He noted that such measures, along with efforts to curb corruption, could free up resources for critical national programs such as free primary education and support for public universities. He also said that the government's steps to control costs and maintain monetary policy stability were positive signs, but added that continued efforts were needed to address international costs and other structural challenges to ensure the economy stabilizes and GDP growth improves.
The other issue is we looking at the forex. It's still having some problems where we have got different prices between the market, the market, which is the authorized market, as well as the parallel market, the black market. They are charging different prices, or different rates, of our foreign money. So the other issue is the issue of shortage of food. So these are the issues that are still giving our indicators that we need to work extra hard in order to make things stable. Prices I've seen changing because of the change of fuel price. We have seen just in the local market sugar prices changing, soap and whatsoever. Immediate issues that we are using on a day-to-day needfuls in the households. The prices are going up. So these are the issues, that are showing that the economy is still having some doubts. However, because of the change of the government from previous regime to new regime, and the announcements that are there, or what we expect.
The economic expert has urged the government to tackle corruption and manage internal expenditures to stabilize Malawi economy. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
Remember, you are watching news on Luntha television, and we'll be back after this short break.
Service Charter ndi ndondomeko yomwe nthambi zaboma zikugwiritsa ntchito potumikira anthu ndi cholinga chotukula ntchito za ulimi kuti alimi akhale ndi upangiri okwanira, za maphunziro kuti ophunzira alandire maphunziro oyenera, zosamalira chilengedwe kuti anthu apewe mchitidwe wodzetsa kusintha kwa nyengo, za umoyo kuti anthu alandire thandizo la kuchipatala moyenera komanso mu nthawi yache, za chitetezo kuti anthu athandizidwe ndi apolisi mopanda chinyengo, kusamalira ovutika kuti athe kudziyimira paokha ndi kutenga nawo mbali pa chitukuko, ndinso ntchito za madzi kuti anthu akhale ndi madzi aukhondo ndi kupewa matenda. Ndondomekoyi ithandiza kuonetsetsa kuti anthu akutumikiridwa mosapsinja maufulu awo kuti miyoyo yawo itukuke. Pitani kuti mukadziwe zambiri za mmene ndondomekozi zimagwirira ntchito.
Uthengawu akukupatsirani da Human Rights Resource Center mogwirizana ndi makhonsolo a Dowa, Mchisi ndi Nsanje ndi thandizo lochokera ku Norwegian Church Aid ndi Dan Church Aid.
It's the 2025 Praise Experience Malawi Gospel Extravaganza, probably the biggest gospel concert of the year, live at the BICC Lilongwe, 6 December 2025, featuring 28 of Malawi's A-list gospel artists, including Miracle Chinga, Kamuzu Barracks Gospel Singers, Lloyd Perry, Great Angels Choir, Marvelous Deeds, Ande Seko, Maggie Mangani, Norman Perry, Alex Nkalo, Debbie N, Confidence Voices, Bishop Chimwemwe Mhango, Ruth Misi, Musa Bwemba, Chris Kantunze, Carlo Kadzua, Sam Maliza, Reverend Dayton Bewe, Betha Nkoma, Rudo Chakwera, Peter Mlangeni, Martha Mituka, and many more. Charges: standard ticket 20,000 kwacha advance and 30,000 at the door. VIP 50,000 kwacha, VVIP 100,000 kwacha. Tickets available at Lloyd Perry Shop, Toto Walkers, Patanki, Kabale Filling Station, Area 18 Filling Station, Area 18 Sanamu, Best Oil, CBM Superstorm Sungwi, Area 49 Panda, Nomonde Design Shop at BICC, Toto Filling Station City Center, BICC Reception, Maula Puma Filling Station, Puma Crossroads Filling Station, Kaunda Puma, Likuni Filling Station, Pamalewezi, Toto Bunda Filling Station, and Biwi Filling Station. Doors open at exactly 10 a.m. All artists will perform live, backed by the Praise Experience Band, and the entire show will be filmed for the Praise Experience Malawi Volume 2 album. So look sharp and dress for the occasion. Remember, all roads lead to the BICC in Lilongwe on 6 December for the 2025 Praise Experience Malawi Gospel Extravaganza, powered by AIA LED, Umodzi Park, TNM, and Web Tickets. See you there.
In case you are just joining us, note that you are watching news on Luntha television. But before proceed, top stories once again. Pope Leo prays at Pope Francis' tomb, strengthening his connection to the legacy of his predecessor. Police rearrest suspected Panga warding gang members in connection with Mbowe violent incident. Attorney General defends President Mutharika's appointments of SCB and MRA heads. And in international news, Guinea's junta leader Mamadi Doumbouya to contest in upcoming presidential election. The Economic Association of Malawi, ECAMA, has commended the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, for maintaining the policy rate at 26%, saying inflation remains high with risk worsening by persistent food shortages. According to ECAMA Executive Director Dr. Esimi Kanyumbu, the organization supports the MPC's stance as it helps to maintain economic stability. Emmanuel Chocha has filed this report.
In an interview, Dr. Kanyumbu said that while the government is importing maize from Zambia, the success of the initiative in reducing food prices would depend on the timely importation and distribution. She cautioned that loosening the monetary policy could worsen the country's forex shortages and push non-food inflation higher, while further tightening it would have limited impact. Dr. Kanyumbu has since called for joint efforts to address supply-side challenges by supporting local production to help reduce food prices.
Pressures from the forex shortages. So we see that even non-food inflation is likely going to remain up going forward. So this is not the time to loosen monetary policy. But you can also ask to say why not recommending tightening monetary policy further. We've always been saying that monetary policy has almost maybe reached its limit, because if you look at the pressures to inflation, they're coming from the supply side. So tightening monetary policy maybe wouldn't be also a good idea, because it wouldn't make a big impact on inflation.
Meanwhile, headline inflation stood at 33% in the third quarter of 2024, before easing at 28% in the second quarter of the 2025 and 28% in the third quarter of 2025. Food inflation dropped from 42.5% in the third quarter of 2024 to 33% in the third quarter of 2025, while non-food inflation averaged around 20% in the same period. For Luntha News, in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Chiwocha.
One of the country's celebrated actors, Edwin Chonde, has described that Ashukire Mwagisuru as a true inspiration to the young generation and the entire film industry. Mwagisuru, a renowned filmmaker and actor, passed away on Monday, 3rd November 2025 at Maiwatu Hospital in Blantyre after a short battle with cancer. According to Chonde, through his innovative ideas and dedication to his craft, Mwagisuru not only entertained audiences but also helped shape and elevate Malawi's growing film industry, leaving behind a lasting legacy that will continue to inspire fellow artists and inspiring filmmakers. Henry Malonga with the details.
Wina wake anandiuze kuti patsiko lonse lapansi pali munthu mmodzi yekha amene amadziwa njira yopangira.
Mwagisuru, who was celebrated for his outstanding storytelling and commitment to developing Malawi's film sector, rose to fame through his role in the award-winning movie The Last Fishing Boat. He also served as the vice president of the Film Association of Malawi, FAMA, where he worked tirelessly to uplift fellow filmmakers and advocate for the growth of the industry. Actor Edwin Chonde said Makisulu will forever be remembered for being an inspiration to young generation and everyone in the film industry through his creativity, hard-working spirit, and constant drive to bring new ideas that made him stand out.
No, his impact was very huge. Remember the last fishing boat? He played a very important role in that movie, and he played a role in a number of movies, including his own movie, All We Have Is Us. I remember during our very first Malawian Film Festival, All We Have Is Us swept almost everything.
The late Makisulu hailed from Makisulu Village Traditional Authority Giripula in Kalonga district, where he was laid to rest on Wednesday, 5 November 2025. His death marks a major loss for Malawi's creativity community, a man remembered not only for his talent but also for his commitment to telling authentic Malawian stories through film. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Henry Malunga.
And finally, in international news, the military commander who has ruled Guinea since 4 years ago has entered the presidential race ahead of the next month's election, breaking an earlier promise to hand power to a civilian government. General Mamad Doumbouya submitted his candidacy at the Supreme Court on Monday, flanked by soldiers and wearing black sunglasses. Two of Guinea's biggest opposition parties, RPG, ARC and SEAL, and UFDG, have been excluded from the December's contest, raising concerns about the election's credibility. We have a BBC report read by Fales Kizombe.
Ghanaians had reacted with shock last month when it was announced that presidential candidates would need to pay a deposit of 825 million Ghanaian francs to contest the election. While the previous deposit was almost as high as 800 million francs, some analysts had hoped it would be reduced to encourage more people to stand in these historic elections. 4 years ago, Gen Doumbouya had pledged to hand power back to civilians, saying neither him nor any member of the transition would be a candidate for anything. The election is being held under a new constitution that allowed Gen Doumbouya to run for the presidency. Under his rule, the Ghanaian authorities have been cracking down on peaceful dissent, including attempts to mobilize people towards a return to democratic rule. The junta has been criticized for suspending media outlets, restricting internet access, and brutally suppressing demonstrations. Yet, Gen Doumbouya justified deposing then 83-year-old President Alpha Condé on similar charges, including rampant corruption, disregard for human rights, and economic mismanagement. Prior to seizing power in the 2021 coup, Gen Doumbouya was a middle-ranking soldier. His 15-year-old military career included missions in Afghanistan, Ivory Coast, Djibouti, Central Africa, Republic, and close protection in Israel, Cyprus, the UK, and Guinea. Aged 40, he is currently one of the youngest African heads of state. December's election will take place in the absence of several prominent figures, such as ex-President Condé, who was kicked out of power in 2021, and former Prime Ministers Cyril Darren, Diarra, and Sidia Toli, all of whom are currently living abroad.
With that BBC News report read by Fales Kizombe also brings us to the end of our today's bulletin. But before I go, let's have a look of the headlines again. Pope Leo prays at Pope Francis' tomb, strengthening his connection to the legacy of his predecessor. Police rearrest suspected Panga warding gang members in connection with Mbowe violent incident. Attorney General defends President Mutharika's appointments of SCB and MRA heads. And in international news, Guinea's junta leader Mamad Doumbouya to contest in upcoming presidential election. This has been Patrick Popper. Thanks for the pleasure of your company and continue watching Luntha television. Goodbye.